Hello family, friends, and YouTube. Today I'm going to install these Panical engine bumper guards. On the market right now there are various versions of bumper guards. Some people call them comfort guards, some people call them engine guards, crash bars, whatever the terminology will be. I'm here to tell you, no matter what product you have here, I don't believe it's going to be much for a crash, but I'm wanting to prevent a tip over all the way over, and I've almost dropped my bike 5 times, and I know I could try to catch them on the Honda's bumpers, these bumper guards, but I'm afraid where the damage is caused is when the bike continues to go all the way over. So I'm hoping that these here will prevent that. So I'm going to put these on my bike here. Now, I don't think they'll stick out that far. I like the look. Some people don't like the look. I actually like the look, but I'm also more for what some refer to these as comfort guards. Because the bottom line is, it's going to be about comfort, about how comfortable I feel if the bike were to lose my grip in the gravel or whatever and it drops a little bit to the side. Will this be enough to stop it from going the rest of the way over? I've seen some of the other products and they want you to drill into your bike. They want you to cut certain parts of the bike. I don't want to be that evasive. So I'm going to try these to see if these will work for me. We'll see how it turns out. I like the look personally. Some do, some don't. But let's go ahead with the install. Alright, step 1 is to remove the fog light covers. Using a 5mm, we're going to remove both screws. Okay, now we have this part done. We'll just lightly open it up, remove the tabs, and because we have this light system on here, I'm just going to hang this down. Alright, we're going to do that for both sides. Now the right side of the bike is going to be different than the left, so we're going to come up here, we're going to remove basically the chrome bolt at the top here. This also holds on. We're going to remove the tie down, so I'm going to have to remove all of this here, because as you can see there's going to be another bolt right here holding the tie down in place, so we're going to have to remove that and get these two off so we can remove the whole tie down assembly itself. Alright, using an 8mm socket on the head of the bolt but a 10mm on the nut, we're going to loosen this. And we'll remove this assembly right here, just so maybe I can rotate the fog light out of the way enough to get to the other bolt. Just enough to rotate it out of the way. All right, we'll rotate it all the way up. Now we can remove the bracket. Alright, so now we're going to reattach the horn. The 12mm bolt that goes in here to hold the horn in place, we're going to put that back simply because we're not using this for the attachment. But we can tighten the horn back down. Alright, and now we're going to start with this hole. That's where we're going to start to line things up. So let's rotate the fog light back into its original position. Because as we mount this to the subframe, we're just going to start these threads by hand. And the only reason we're doing this loosely is because this will help you see where everything else lines up below. So by putting this here lightly, let it be able to pivot so you can get to the other bolts that you need to. But we'll change position so you can see exactly where the bolts line up now. Now by simply pivoting it, you will be able to see that this will go inside here, and this one here will feed to that bolt there. And that's how they will connect. There will be no cutting of the plastic. So those are the bolts that we're going to remove. Obviously, the longer bolts are going to go in here. So now you can see your target bolts. We can start there by removing them. Alright, using 12mm, we're going to go after the two bolts in question where the frame lines up. And we're going to remove both of them. Alright, now with both 12mm bolts out, we can line up the other bolts. So we're going to take the longest one and we're going to take it, it's 6mm, and we're going to thread it through until you feel it hit your finger on the other side. Be careful not to cross thread it. And this will give you the lined up position. So right now, we're just going to lightly start. Don't want to tighten anything all the way down yet. Alright, so now we're going to put the other one in. Which is the shorter 6mm, and it's going to line up right straight in. Now we're going to tighten these down firmly. And up top. There it is. That is one side complete. Okay, here we're going to reattach the fog light. And we'll tighten those down. Remember, it's an 8 and a 10. Now realign the cover. We're going to put that back on, line up the tabs on the side and in the front. Remember the front down low, then up top. Put your screws back in. And this will, once we put the screws in, we'll be finished with the right side. Now we're going to clean off our working surface before we move to the other side. I like to get rid of all fingerprints. Don't like my fingerprints on it. All right, and now we will move to the other side and repeat the process, starting with the top bolt. Now that we're on the left side, we're going to repeat the same process. Remember, we have to readjust the Alright, we have to loosen the bracket here and then loosen this up the top here just so we can rotate the fog light out of our way so we can get to the bracket, the tie down brackets that were in place. Don't actually need the tie down brackets if you have this bar, this bumper guard in place, because it can serve as a tie down point. All right, rotate up. Up and out the way, and then we get to that other bolt. Now let's reattach the horn bracket. Now we can pivot the fog light back into position. Put it in its bracket. We'll tighten those down, and then we will line up our bar, our bumper guard, to the very first bolt right there at the top. As we can see, the bumper guard, by putting this one up here first, everything else can line up below. Now remember, with this on here loose, now it is lined up and you know which the other bolts below that you're going to do. But we can go ahead and tighten down the fog light assembly right now. Now applying this back, remember we have a nut that is 10 millimeter and we have a bolt that is 8 millimeter. So we're going to line them up, put them in place, and tighten them down just like we did on the other side. Alright, now when we swing those bars over, we know the two bolts that have to come out, and we'll do that next. Now on the left side of the bike, you have to remove this piece here before you can do anything. So we pick this out in order to reach the bolts. Again, you're not cutting anything, and the long bolt goes through the tube here. And then on this side here, you'll need a little bit slighter, longer 5mm to get to this bolt to tighten it down. And the big trick is these things are actually connected to the OEM bumper guards. So you got to make sure everything is lined up when you're feeding the screws back through, because the OEM bumper will move on you. And then you tighten both of those screws, and then we go tighten the front. Then we're going to reassemble, put everything back on. And that's all we'll do for this part. So now that you're finished, this will be the general look. I think it's a low profile, but there they are. And as a side note, everything is connected to what the original bumper from Honda is connected to. So when putting it back together, sometimes you have, to line up both bumpers in order to get the bolts to run through, the longer bolts. But there it is, installed. It's the right, and there's the left. There's the straight on profile. Well, that completes the installation process of the Panical bumpers, and I hope you understand that this video was for entertainment and for information purposes only. I am not a certified Honda mechanic. I am showing you what I did to my 2024 Honda Gold Wing. So until next time, just live your life.